try to show it to you. Well, maybe you can't see it. A snap ring. A snap ring, right? Right. Two holes. It's a snap ring that's got to come out of there to get that grease fitting plug out of there, so you can get to the back side of that pin. There's your bolt, or the nut that goes on the back of the boat. But you can't get to it on that side. You gotta take out that snap ring and then that plug that goes in the grease pit. This is the other side that I've already taken out. You've got the grease fitting. There's your snap ring. There's this plug that the grease fitting goes in. Snap ring holds that in place, and then you get to the back side of this boat, which goes through there. It's got shoulders on it. It's supposed to keep that boat from spinning, but it doesn't always work. When I try to loosen the nut that goes on the other side of there, this was spinning inside of there, and you couldn't get it loose. So I couldn't figure out how to get this bad boy out. So I took the grease fitting out, finally found the snap ring, still couldn't get this out. I didn't know how it came out, didn't realize it had an O-ring on it. So I took a bolt, just a regular bolt, small enough to fit through there. Without messing up the threads for my grease fitting. So I can put pressure against that to hold that inside of those shoulders to keep that from spinning when I took the nut off. It was a little bit of a chore, but it worked. So, okay, part of the reason for me making this video, show you how to get that pin out, and I forgot to show you this particular part. When my tapered pin was inside of here, like so, and this boat was spinning around and around and around. When I was trying to unscrew the nut off of it, it just kept spinning because it wouldn't stay up against those two shoulders. It wouldn't stay up against there and keep it from spinning. So this is what I did. I took a piece of wood, went from one side to the other, took a jack, and then took a bolt. Of course, it's all back together now, but where I took this grease fitting out, take the grease fitting out, put the bolt through that hole small enough that it could fit through that opening, and then use my jack, and the bolt would put pressure against that head and push it into those shoulders long enough for me to unscrew the nut. So that's what I did, and it worked. The only thing you may want to do is right here, this bolt that goes through there, put some tape around it so it doesn't mess up the threads on the for your grease fitting. You don't want it to mess up the threads so you can get your grease fitting back in there. But that's how I got that one side off. And like I said, once I got that bolt out, you can slide your whole Bobcat plate out and then just pull it away from the other pin, and then you can access the nut on that side. Made it a lot easier. But anyway, that's what I did. Another quick view. Just put a piece of wood from one side to the other. Put the jack in there. Jacked it up. Just enough, it don't have to be much pressure. Just enough so that bolt would push that head into those shoulders. And you can take your nut off this outside, out here. And it worked. Worked really well. So, that might help you be able to get that out. So, anyway, there you go. I have had videos, looked for videos on how to get these pins out of a Bobcat T590. T590. So, once you figure that out on getting out how to get the pins out, it's not too bad. If you can pop this grease fitting plug out, it would be better, because then you could put a socket on that head of that bolt right there, then put another impact or a wrench on the outside and unscrew the bolt that goes through there. So on this side, I'm showing you that pin will go in that, no, it'll go in that way. The taper will go in the arm of the skid loader like that. And that will go through like that. That washer over here. That would be there, and your grease fitting there. So that's the way it'll go on the side I'm getting ready to take out now. I'll see if I can get that grease fitting plug out without having to drive something in there, so I can get a socket on the inside. I'll get you back on the camera once I see how it's going. I've got to get the snap ring out first. That's a little bit of a chore, but it's not too bad. Okay, there's your snap ring. Try to pull that plug out with that grease fitting on there. Don't act like it's going to come out. Okay. The other side's a little easier to get off. Once you got this side off, that one will pretty much slide out of there. So you can actually easily access that bolt right there, the head of that bolt. Clean that up a little bit where you can see it. There, you can see that bolt head and see actually what's going on here. See what happens. That bolt doesn't hold tight against them shoulders like it's supposed to. And then it wants to spin, and you can't get the mother frigger out of there. So the other side, that worked good. I'm gonna put a socket on there and that impact on the other side. Get that dude off of there. I'll be back. Okay, got that one out finally. It's a good thing I come apart. I don't know that I would have got it off there otherwise. I had this big 1/2 inch drive, kind of a strong arm, it slides up and down. It's a 15/16 socket I put on the inside Here. Put it there. And that, what you're seeing, is actually this pin where it goes through the arm. So that pin is still in there, but this bolt that goes through there was spinning just like this one was on the other side. So put that on there. There's the nut. I don't want to touch it because it's hot as, just to get it off of there. I mean, I don't know if the ends of that bolt were boogered or if they had some kind of Loctite on there. That dude did not want to come out of there. I don't want to touch this bolt either because it's hot. You see steam's coming off of it. So I don't know if the ends of them threads are boogered up just from normal wear and tear, just rocks and stuff hitting it, or dirt in there, but it looks like it's swedged out on the end. Maybe somebody's been beating on it. It wasn't me. But anyway, I got that out. Now, getting that pin out. That's a little bit of a trick as well, because they're wedged in there pretty good, which you want them to be. You want them to be wedged in there so they don't come out. Okay, what I did on the other side, big old bolt. I guess it's about a 1/2 inch bolt. I don't know. Not sure, but I believe that's what it is. What I did, I found a bolt. What do I do with my pin? There's my new pin. Okay, there's my new pin. I found the bolt that won't go in the pin and is not any bigger than the outside of the pin, but it's bigger than the inside. So I use that over here. You can see what that looks like now, which is hot in there too. And there's the end of that pin. Well, if that washer will come out, you can see it. There's the end of that pin. I'll take that, put in there, and then take a big freaking sledgehammer, this bad boy. Okay, before you go knocking things out with your big sledgehammer, be sure you got on your safety glasses. You don't want to damage your eyes. I've got one damaged already, don't want another one. So, see if we can knock her out of there. Okay, since I was actually just making a video on how those pins come out, I figure some people might want to know how you get the sleeves or the bushings out of the Bobcat where the pivot pins or the wedge pins, tapered wedge pins go. This is the one that was in there. It was in there, and as you can see, I took my welder and welded a bead all the way around it, which that helps. When you weld it, it's going to heat this bushing up. Then when it cools, it's going to shrink just a little bit. So while it's cooling and shrinking, I took a little bitty air hammer, put in from the other side, put in from this side on my weld, and started driving it out. And it did well. It came out pretty easily. The other one was a little tougher. It didn't want to come out, so I had to weld it a little thicker, and just took a punch and a hammer from the inside, put on that bushing, and just started driving it out, and it worked very well. Had to smack it pretty hard to get it out, but it came out. So now I've got the new bushings in. Got to put the new bushings in the tilt arms, the pins, put it all back together. We'll be ready to rock and roll. The hard part's done now, so hopefully this will be a little easier. And kind of keep you posted as we go. Okay, got that pin out. The pin that goes right there. Got it out. Got my old bearings out of my Bobcat. The new bearings in. Ready to go. Gonna go in like that. Nice, better feel. I didn't show you my old pins. There's one, here's the other one. These are egg shaped. Hard to tell on this camera, but these are egg shaped. They are wore plumb out. I should have replaced them. Should have replaced them a year ago. But they're both terribly egg shaped. You can maybe see that one a little bit better. It's flat on the top there. So, anyway, since I was doing it anyway, I decided to go ahead and replace these pins and bushings in the tilt arms. I ordered them all as a kit, everything together. Allskidsteers.com. And tip for getting these bearings out. I took an old impact socket because they're made a little tougher. Of course, you can see I've mushroomed this one. That's because I've used it for about 5 years driving these out. It fits perfectly in there. It's a 1-inch impact socket, and it drives those bearings, these bearings, out perfectly. It will drive them right out of there. It works out good. So that's what we got. Okay, here we go. Got everything back together. I'm gonna rotate the bucket forwards and backwards a few times and then tighten up them tapered pivot pins on each side, make sure they're good and tight. I've greased everything, so I'll kind of show you as much as I can here what it looks like finished. There's the new pins for the top that I got in there. Okay, these are the ones that are hard to see and hard to know what the heck you're supposed to do. But that's it. Got that back in with the snap ring. And there's the other side. Back in, grease fitting, snap ring, like it's supposed to be, I hope. This side's on. Word of advice: when you replace these pins right here, take out this grease fitting and that grease fitting. When you put your new bushing in, it's got a hole in it right there, and that hole has got to line up with that grease fitting. So take that grease fitting out, push your bushing in, and get your little piece of wire, a little tiny screwdriver. Make sure you got opening all the way through your grease fitting through that, or you won't be able to grease it. So maybe that'll help somebody not have to go through so much trouble like I did. So we'll see you.